welcome back. So last time I made a video, we were multiplying. I don't remember exactly what it was. But today we're going to be multiplying using mental math, which basically just means we are multiplying using numbers that are easier to multiply together. So we're going to be taking them apart and kind of putting them back together in different ways. And, well, instead of me trying to describe it, let me show you. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 different examples here that we can use for multiplying with mental math. So we're going to start with a problem. It's going to be 4 times 6 times 50. Now, a lot of us want to work from left to right because that's how we read, that's how we do a lot of things, and that's how we read this problem, 4 times 6 times 50. However, because everything is multiplication, we can multiply these in whatever order we like. So instead of doing 4 times 6, which equals 24, and then trying to multiply 24 times 50, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. And I'm going to do 4 times 50 first. So my little arrow is pointing to the 4 and to the 50. So again, when I do 4 times 50, I really just look at 4 times 5. Again, it makes it that much simpler because I know all my basic multiplication facts. And it's okay if you don't. There's strategies to help you. This video is not going to go over those, but there's strategies to help you learn basic multiplication facts. So 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to put 20 right here. But we can't forget about that 0 that we covered up. So because this is 50 and not 5, we're going to go ahead and add that extra 0 at the end. And now we have 200. So we have 200. And then we just take what we had left over. So we have that 6 still up here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down here. And I'm going to do 200 times 6. So we've got a whole new math problem right here. 200 times 6. Again, I can cover up those zeros right now. 2 times 6 is way easier. 2 times 6 equals 12. So I'm going to go ahead and write 12. But we have those 2 zeros because we just uncovered them, so they don't magically disappear. They just go on the end of our problem. Okay? And you get 1,200. Did I do that right? I think I did. I'm going to go ahead and double check our math with the standard, what's called the standard multiplication method. In my opinion, any method is standard as long as it makes sense to you. But let's go ahead and just erase this right here. I'm going to leave that circle so I don't erase everything. And let's just double check our work with standard multiplication. So if you want to do it the long way, really I don't want to do it the long way, but let's do it the long way. Let's do 4 times 6 is 24. You have 24 times 50. Now the trick I learned way back when, you're going to see this, and you might learn it sometime, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it, is if you actually put the 24 on top, do times 5, and bring the 0 over, bring that down. 4 times 5 is 20, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 1,200, 1,200. So we did the problem correctly. Awesome. So there is that. We checked our answer. Now I'm going to show you 2 other ways that we could, or 2 other problems. Sorry, not 2 other ways. They might include 2 other ways. Either way, I'm rambling again. Okay, here we go. Let's do the problem 5 times 420. Again, if you're good at multiplication, this one will be pretty simple to do with standard multiplication. However, I'm going to show you a strategy if you're still struggling with, some of these bigger numbers. So what I'm going to do is I am going to split this number into 2 numbers. So I'm going to change it to 420. Again, numbers are still the same. Nothing big and crazy. We're just going to do this here. Now, I have these 2 numbers. And technically, they're both multiplied by 5, right? So let me write them on the side here a little bit differently. I'm going to do 420. Again, still our same number here, just split up. Now, I'm going to multiply both of those by 5. So I'm going to do times 5 and times 5. Because again, overall, it's 420 is multiplied by 5. So if I multiply 400 by 5 and 20 by 5, I still get the same thing. Now, again, making our math a little bit easier, if we cover up our zeros and just do 4 times 5, we get 20. And let's see, my camera is going to be covering this up a little bit, so pardon me as I move this over just a little bit for us. Now I've got 1, 2 zeros still left, so I'm going to do 1, 2 zeros and put those right there. Next up, so much easier, 2 times 5 is 10. I know that by heart. 2 times 5 is 10, and then you have 1 0, so I'm going to bring that 0 over here. Now, remember, numbers like these, yes, there's technically 3 zeros and 2 zeros, but there's 2 zeros added on to our answer of 4 times 5 and 1 0 added on to 5 times 2. So now we have the two numbers. We have 2,000, oops, let's do it right. 2,000 plus 100 equals 2,100. So that's the answer, but again, we're going to go ahead and double check our work. So I'm going to do the standard way just because that's the way that I know it best, and I'm going to do it to check. So let's go ahead and just erase this right here. That way I can do the problem over here on this side. Can I zoom out a little bit? Remove the camera. There we go. Okay, let's check our work. 420 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Regroup that 1. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 2,100. So our answers match. We double checked it with another way, and we are good to go. So far, so good. I've done 2 problems with 2 different strategies. I feel good about this video, and I hope you do too. Remember, you can pause this video at any time, rewind, and do whatever you need to do to make sure that you understand. And if me doing the standard way is helping you, and you actually prefer that way, use it. This is just to help you see or have multiple different strategies. Okay, our next one is going to be 6 times 298. So we have 6 times 298. Now, this one's going to get a little bit more fishy. In fact, I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. So here's how this is going to work. Sorry, I'm just adjusting some things, so make sure I do this correctly. This one will be a little bit more confusing, I think, but it's still going to come out to the same answer, and we'll double check it at the end. So, let's do this. Now, when looking at this number, 298 is an ugly number. You might like the number 2 and 9 and 8, but together it's just not a fun number to use in math. So, I want to make it look pretty. As you know, that's the best way I can say it. Make it look pretty, make it look easy. So let's do 6 times 300. That number is so close to 298. If you were doing an estimate, that would be perfect. You could just do that and you wouldn't even have to worry about 298. But if we needed to figure out what the exact number is, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. So, how do I say this? Let's just write it out. I'm not good at talking, I'm better at writing. So we're going to change this to, this is going to be equal to 6, oops, am I doing this right? No. If we do 6 times 300 minus 2, we get the exact same answer as 6 times 298. So the way we are going to do this is 6 times 300 minus 6 times 2. So we know 6 times 2 and 6 times 300, we can make that pretty simple. So let's go ahead and let's do this, okay? Real fast, 6 times 300, again, 6 times 3, in fact, I want to do this in a different color. 6 times 3 is 18. And then we bring down those 2 zeros, and we get 1,800. Minus 12, and let's go ahead and do our math over here. We have 1,800 minus 12, and let's see what we get. We're going to have to do some regrouping. I'm going to regroup from that 7. I'm going to bring 1 over here, change that to 9, that to 1. We get 8, 8, 7, 1, 1,788. Okay, Now, we're going to go ahead and solve this problem using standard multiplication. But first I want to go over kind of why this happened, and then we can do it again. So again, 300 is 2 more than 98. So 300 minus 2 is equal to 298. So it's still multiplying 6 times 298 as long as we're subtracting that 2. So we did the 300, then we did the 2, we subtracted it, and came up with this answer. Okay? So let's go ahead. I'm going to erase all of this. I'm going to rewrite. Actually, let's just erase this part right here. I want to keep this 1,788. That way I know what the answer was, so I can see when I'm double checking. So 298 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Put the 8 down there. Regroup the 4. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 4 is 58. Put the 8 down there. Regroup the 5. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 5 is 17. And we come to the same answer, 1,788. Now I will say, this way that I just showed you, definitely a little bit more confusing, definitely would require more practice. It might help with mental math, it definitely helps with estimates. It's not something I'd recommend for a daily use. I feel like it's more work than it needs to be. If you're going to memorize a strategy, you might as well memorize this. But if you want to have another tool in your toolbox, then this is another strategy for you to use. So that's it for today. By the way, I should have said this in the beginning, but this video goes along with GoMath Chapter 2, Lesson 8 for 4th graders in California. So if you're watching this and you need help on that chapter, it'll at least help you. Those strategies are all included, and yeah. So that's my video. If you have any questions, leave comments. But with that being said, see you later.